There's a term, overkill, the oversaturation of an event, the deliberate, mindless, mind-numbing determination by someone to do something to such a level of excess that the productivity makes one think, why? What is the point of this? What are you doing? What are you accomplishing from this? What is your point? We get it. The hatred, the maniacal focus against President Trump is off the charts. It is a fixation. It's an OCD psychopathy. This has to end. And the reason is, by the way, not for the president's benefit, but for the benefit of those people who are trying to destroy him. Because Nietzsche aside, what does not destroy you makes you stronger. But every time you try to nail another nail in this coffin, you invigorate the spirit of Trump even more. And I'm not over exaggerating. Let me explain this to you very quickly. But first, let me ask you again to always please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of new videos. It means a lot to us. Your absolute love for us is something that you cannot put to bed, so to speak. So we thank you for this. It appears it was being announced today that lawyers for President Trump met today, Thursday, with prosecutors about another possible series or individual indictment by Jack Smith, or as President Trump calls him, the deranged Jack Smith, which I do not think is a good idea. But at this point, what the hell? What are you going to do? Kick him off? Gee, I wonder what that's going to look like compared to this. Now, President Trump confirmed this today on his Truth Social account. And the question is, what does this mean? When there are meetings of this, it can indeed signal that an indictment could be nigh, could be near, and are often an opportunity to allow defense lawyers to make their case against potential charges. That ain't going to happen. Nobody's worried about making a case or seeing that maybe we don't overstep our bounds. That ain't going to happen. They want him dead. And I say that figuratively for now, because how any spirit or anybody who is made of the same stuff that humans are, how they're supposed to withstand this, I have no idea. Now, lawyers for the president had a meeting with the Justice Department days before the last time he was indicted on charges relating to his classified document handling, which is we'll get to that in a moment. So these meetings don't do a hell of a lot, apparently. Then, of course, the New York grand jury indicted him in March as part of a deep investigation into Trump's role in paying off porn star and trollop Dusty Saddles, or whatever her name is. And of course, he pled not guilty in both cases. Now, here's what happened. Trump wrote in his post, he said, "My attorneys had a productive meeting with DOJ this morning, explaining in detail that I did nothing wrong, was advised by many lawyers, and that an indictment of me would only further destroy our country." Trump said, of course, there was no indication of notice. That no indication of notice was given during the meeting. He also wrote on Truth Social last week that he had received a letter from Mr. Smith indicating that he was a target. And of course, come on in and let's see if we can straighten this out, right? And what they do is they want him to come in so they can set him up for perjury. Now, prosecutors, as you know, are probing to the length of to the ends of any kind of logical bearing, the January 6th kerfuffle and Trump's efforts to, quote, undermine the 2020 election victory. Now, apparently Trump's lawyers, John Lauro and Todd Blanche, met with Smith's team. CNN reports that jurors and a Smith prosecutor were seen entering the courthouse. So what does all this mean? It means simply this. Trump is the target. Go get him. It doesn't matter whether you break the rules, whether you break the spirit of the Constitution, whether what you do seems excessive. Grind him into pulverized powder. Destroy him. Kill his spirit. He cannot be anywhere near the election. He cannot be anywhere near the position opposing any threat to us. And at this point, it's personal. They want every aspect of his existence, political or otherwise, to be ground into dust. The president has done nothing wrong. If you read the Brandenburg case against Ohio, the president has to say something which not only is intended to incite some type of insurrection or violent behavior, but is likely to, is it where it's imminent. Not you say some stuff like, hey, Mike Pence, do the right thing, or come on, let's fight. For the love of God. In the New York Times and among Hillary's own supporters last time, they were suggesting to electors, hey, change your vote. They've done everything. Ask Stacey Abrams. Look, you know this. Now, this may mean later on, after just a flurry of pretrial motions to dismiss, claiming that what this is the president expressing himself under the protections of the First Amendment. That's it. But you see, Julian Assange, and the president's no fan of Julian Assange, and the irony is that Julian Assange was brought up on this crazy Espionage Act, which is what the president is. So the president thinks espionage is stupid unless it belongs to Julian Assange, but that's for another story. The First Amendment gives you such incredible latitude to the point where you can get so close to doing something that seems to be violative of the peace and welfare of a society, when in fact it is not. It seems like that. But that is exactly what the First Amendment is about. The president is entitled to believe that his election was stolen. He is entitled to stand before the world and to say, I believe it is stolen. And if anybody thinks for a moment that that group of people, those beer-bellied, camied, Gadsden flag, Proud Boys or whatever, that they were going to overthrow the country. First of all, this is an insult to the American military system. The American military basically toppled Hitler, Japan, Mussolini, won World War II. But those guys are going to bring, I mean, think about this. Do you know what you're saying? Do you think there was any chance of our country losing its sovereignty to those people? Doesn't there have to be a logical connection between that which you allege? If I stand up and say, hey, I'm taking over, and I give you the Italian salute, does that count? Am I conspiring with somebody allegedly to overthrow, to put down this country? Is this seditious conspiracy? Does there not have to be any form of legitimacy or likelihood of anything happening? You're going to overthrow this country, those people? I don't care how many walls they scale, especially after they've been allowed in. And it's incredible. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden and his father are selling this country out literally, actually, specifically, without anything, with a little plea deal, with a here, stay out of problem, take a pee test and go home. I have never. I'm trying to think. I always thought, look, there was always kind of a second many, many tiered levels of justice. That's why I'm against the death penalty. That's why I'm against the death penalty. The death penalty should never be allowed to exist in a country that has this as a potential system. You want Jack Smith in charge of taking people's lives? I don't think so. And if for no other reason, that's it. But this is something that I never thought was even possible. But let me tell you something. Listen to me. You are seeing the deification, the beatification, the canonization, the apotheosis, the elevation of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, as a god. Not as the phoenix, because he's not rising out of the ashes. He's not even near the ashes. He's indestructible. And people love him more. And the first one I heard somebody say, his popularity keeps going up. I don't think it's really going up. Well, it is. It absolutely is. So think about that, dear friend. Think about that, dear friend. Think about that, what I'm saying to you. Let me also again ask you again and thank you for liking this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell so you're notified of every one of these disquisitions of mine. And let me also ask you right now to comment as you see fit.